This is everything you need to know about Cuprium in Arknights Endfield. In this video, we'll break down how to farm Cuprium Ore and use Cuprium to make things like Cuprium parts, gear and units, and also give you the blueprint to craft the 2 new consumables. Let's get started. Here's everything you can make with Cuprium. Cuprium ore can be refined into cuprium, which then can be shredded into cuprium powder, although right now that doesn't have use. Using cuprium in a molding unit lets you create cuprium bottles, which are used to craft the 2 new consumables. Meanwhile, using cuprium in a fitting unit gives cuprium parts. These are not only used for those consumables, but also for crafting cuprium components as well as new facilities and defenses. Here's how you can farm Cuprium ore. First, you'll need a few facilities: a fluid pump, a hydromining rig, and if your water source is far away, a conduit inlet and outlet. Hydromining rigs run on water instead of electricity, so you'll need to supply the problem. Start by heading to a water source near a Cuprium ore deposit, place a fluid pump, then connect it to a conduit inlet. If the water source is close enough, you can skip using conduits altogether. Next, run the conduit towards the Cuprium deposit and place a conduit outlet there. Finally, place your hydromining rigs and connect them to the outlets. And that's it. The work's done here. This is how you can make Cuprium part. First, place a refining unit facing upwards and a fitting unit facing downward. Then, place a depot loader and a depot unloader under these facilities. Connect the depot unloader, refining unit and fitting unit as I show you here. Then, place a conduit outlet and a water treatment unit. Connect the conduit outlet, refining unit and the water treatment unit as I show you here. Place a Chiranite pylon to power everything and then select Cuprium ore in the depot unloader. Connect the conduit outlet to an inlet with a water source and that should be it. To make a Cuprium component, all you need to do is place a depot loader and 2 depot unloaders, then place a gearing unit and connect the gearing unit with the depot unloaders and loaders as shown here. Then select Chiranite and Cuprium part in the depot unloaders. Now, here's an important tip. I highly recommend not connecting your fitting unit directly to a gearing unit, and there are 2 main reasons for that. First, Cuprium parts are used in crafting other facilities and defense towers, so you'll want to keep a supply instead of converting everything automatically. Second, you'll eventually hit a limit around 58,000 Cuprium components where you can produce any more. When that happens, your gearing unit stops, which causes the fitting unit to clog. Once the fitting unit is clogged, it stops producing Cuprium parts, which you could have sold, but also it stops the refining unit, which means you will stop producing sewage as well. So yeah, just store the Cuprium part in the depot instead. To make the new consumables, follow the exact placements carefully. First, place a depot loader like this, then 2 depot unloaders together. Then, place a seed picking unit and a planting unit like this. Place 2 refining units like this and a molding unit like this. The placements and gaps are important for later, so follow as shown. Then place a fitting unit here, afterwards a shredding unit here, followed by a water treatment unit in this position. Then a reactor crucible like this, then Chiranite pylons in these 2 spots. Then a fitting unit and a packaging unit here. You should end up with something like this. Now for the belt connections. Connect the depot unloaders to the refining unit, then the refining unit to the fitting and molding units. Connect the fitting unit to the packaging unit and the planting unit and seed picking unit like this. Connect the planting unit to the shredding unit and then shredding and molding unit to the reactor crucible. Lastly, connect the reactor crucible, fitting unit, the packaging unit, and the depot loader as shown here. You should end up with this. Now, for the pipe connection. Bring a water source to the farm and connect it to the reactor crucible. Then use pipe splitter to connect the water to the refining unit and the planting unit as shown here. Then connect the reactor crucible to the fitting unit. Connect the refining unit to the water treatment units and use a pipe converter to connect the second refining unit to the sewage pipe. This should be it. Now all you need to do is select Cuprium Ores in the depot unloaders and place Yazhen or Jincao in the seed picking unit. Wait for a while and select the reactor crucible menu and select Cuprium bottles in the middle and the fluid solutions in the bottom. That should be it. Here is how to use the blueprint. First place it like this, then make sure Cuprium ore is selected in the depot unloaders. Then connect a water source onto this pipe, then open the seed picking unit menu, then place either Jincao or Yazin depending on what you want to make. Then after a while go to the reactor crucible menu and select Cuprium bottle in the middle and the fluid solution in the bottom. That should be it. I recommend building two of these, one with Yazan and another one with Jincao. And that's the complete Cuprium guide in Enfield. If this helped you out, drop a like and subscribe for more guides like this. Help me reach 1K subs in the next 3 months. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.